Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi yassir wa la tu'assir wa tammim bil khair. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Welcome once again to the Quranic Arabic study group, session number 2. Inshallah, today we will conduct a brief review of what we discussed last time, which was Sura An-Nas, chapter 114. And then look at Sura Al-Falaq, which is chapter 113, as discussed. Last time we had a bit of a problem with the audio, so I'm going to repeat a little bit of some of the things that we spoke about last time, so that if anything was unclear, hopefully that will become clearer today. So once again, a quick review of the objective of this session. It's essentially to do a word-by-word analysis to understand the grammar and meaning of the Quran. And as we'll be going through the individual surahs, we shall be reviewing the relevant concepts. And again, the assumption is that people have had some prior exposure to a proper formal course. And this was one of the primary references from Arif Irfanullah Saab's course on Quran and Salat. And Arif Saab has recently also updated and made a table of contents of all the videos in his Arabic grammar class. So if you look at this, there are a total of 61 sessions or 62 sessions. These the link is given over here as well, and these can be easily found. These consist of, starting with the noun section, and then, so here is all the sessions on nouns, and then we have the sentences or the murakkabs, as you might call them, starting from lesson number 9. And then from lesson 25, we have the verbal sessions on discussion on all verbs. And from 34, we start a slightly more detailed look at the Salasi Mujarrid verbs, which are essentially the verbs which have 3 root letters. And then from lesson number 44, we have the derived verbs. And if hopefully people recall that these are the afala and fa'ala and so on forms, which are generally about 10 of those. And from lesson 48, the session comprises of the derived nouns or ismul fa'il, active participles and passive participles, the subject and object and so on. And finally, lesson 55 onwards is the most difficult part of the course, which was introduction to irregular verbs. So this table of contents is now available. We also spoke about the Quranic Arabic corpus, which will be again one of our main references that we'll be discussing, and the Hans-Wehr dictionary, which may come in handy once in a while. So let us briefly take a look at last time's chapter, which was Sura An-Nas. And let me just read through the surah once again. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, malikin nas, ilahin nas, min sharril waswasil khannas, allazi yuwaswisu fi sudurin nas, min al-jinnati wan nas. Now, we showed the syntactic tree bank, which was part of the Corpus Quran website. And it shows you the links, not only the meanings of the words, but also their syntax and the syntactical links between the words. And at times, this can be a little confusing because there are a lot of acronyms which are used. So I've made a quick summary over here of all the acronyms, which is available on their site, of course. So you have the nouns, isms, pronouns, ismul ilm, And I'm not going to go through all of these in detail, but just some of the main ones: adjectives, or sifa as they're referred to in Arabic, and then others such as pronouns, which are known as zamir. Um, and I'll skip through some of these other ones. Prepositions come in quite frequently, which are referred to as harf-e-jar, which we showed last time as well, and conjunctions, which are the huruf-e-atafi, which often come in. And then there is a very long list of particles, particles, I'm sorry. And some of these, for example, harfe nasb is something that we might have come across before, and then there are a whole bunch of others which I'm not going to go into. But this is just to let you know that this list can be looked at as and when required. So if we, sorry, let me just try to move this. If we take a quick look at Sura An-Nas, we looked at the words individually, starting from kul, which was, and we looked at how the word can be derived and from both the Hans Word Dictionary, as well as if you look at the Corpus Quran. So you can look at the roots of the word, which here are kaf, waw, lam. And we mentioned that whenever a word is a verb, then it's a good idea to look and to understand its past, mazi, as well as muzare, which is the present or future tense. So for kaf or lam, it is qala yakulu. And kul is the imperative or the command. Next was aza ya'uzu, and a'uzu as referred to in the surah, which means I seek refuge. And in case one tends to forget the conjugations for fi'l mudari, these are given here in the table and can be looked up as well. So af'ala is being referred to over here. The next was bi rabbin nas. So here we spoke about three components to this. B was the preposition, which had an impact of making the next noun into jar form, or majroor as you may call it. And then you have a murakkab over here, which was a murakkab izafi, and we looked at both the different prepositions as they refer to, or huruf-e-jar. And we also looked at the different types of murakkabat, and we looked at, in this particular case, it is a murakkab izafi, as shown over here and discussed last time. The next we looked at individual words. So here the word Malik is being referred to, and whenever we look at a particular word, we need to understand whether it is being referred to as a verb, or is it a noun, or one of its different forms of a noun. So for example, an active participle is something that we might recall is generally the subject. And if it's a passive participle, then it's generally the object. So that should hopefully be a review for those of us who've gone through the Arif Saab's course. Next, we looked at the individual words, and we saw the word alif lam ha being referred to ilah, which was also the common root word for Allah. And then we saw the word sheen, ra. And again, I'm not going to go into the details, as this was already covered last time. Waswas, and then khannas, whose root letters were kha, noon, and sin. And swad dal ram, swad dal ra, which is the root word for sadr. And here it's referred to as allazi yuwassisu fi sudur an-nas. and sudur is being referred to as a noun over here. Finally, you have min al-jinnati wan-nas, and jim, nun, nun were the root letters of the word jinn. And this, interestingly, we pointed out, it was commented that it has this is also the same roots for the word Jannah. So that was a brief review of what we discussed last time. And now let's start a review of Sura Al-Falaq, which is the 113th chapter of the Quran. So let me read this. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. So what we'll do, as we did last time, is take a look at the individual words. Many of these words we've already come across in the previous surah, so we're not going to go into details of those. But let's take a closer look at some of the words that we haven't seen so far. So qul is, of course, a verb, and it is in the imperative form or command form, which means say. A'udhu is a verb, and this is in the mudari form or imperfect form, as it's referred to in English, and it means I seek refuge. Bi Rabbil Falaq. So be here is a preposition, and this is a preposition phrase, PP, which simply refers to a phrase which comprises of a preposition and a noun. So you'll see this often being shown in the tree bank. So bi Rabbin Nas implies that the preposition be impacts the noun afterwards and makes the word Rabb into majroor. So this has kasra underneath it. Al-Falaq is a noun, of course, and is in majroor form simply because of the preposition be before it. So Qul a'udhu bi Rabbil Falaq. Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of the dawn. Now, as we understand, when we're talking about mudaf alayh phrase, then one of them is a mudaf alayh, in this case the dawn, and Rabb is the mudaf over here. We have bi Rabbil Falaq, which essentially is mudaf alayh, and this is the Lord of the dawn. And so here the mudaf ilayh is the dawn, al-falaq, and Lord is the mudaf. Now let's take a closer look at these words. I think none of these words are new, so the only word that is new here is falaq, and the root letters are fa, lam, and qaf. Now this occurs only 4 times in the Quran and is in 3 derived forms. So the first one is a verb derived form, which is in form 7, An-Falaq. The second one is once as a noun, which is what is being used over here, simply meaning the dawn, and twice as the active participle Faliq. As you may recall, an active participle is someone who is the doer. So Faliq, in this case, is the one who cleaves, or the cleaverer. In other words, the one who is splitting, and one can imagine the dawn as splitting the night from the day. So that sort of connects the 2 words together, Faliq and Falaq. Next, let's go on to the next ayah, which is min sharri ma khalaq. Min is, of course, a preposition and haruf jar, which results in the next noun, shar, in being in majroor form, from the evil. Ma khalaq, and ma is what is referred to as a relative pronoun. For example, allazi or allati also are relative pronouns, which is referring to another noun in its place. So min sharri ma khalaq, from the evil of what he created. Ma refers to what he created. Now, khalaqa is the root, is in a verb form, as you can see over here. And let's take a look at the word khalaq. Now, khalaq, as you might imagine, is an extremely common word in the Quran. It occurs 261 times in 8 derived forms. So let's take a quick look at some of the derived forms of the word khalaq. So the most common is the verb khalaqa, and one might guess that this is the mazi form. And would you like to guess what the muzari form could be for khalaqa? Farooq, would you like to guess what that could be? So this is past tense, or what is referred to as perfect. And then you have the imperfect, or the present and future.
Sorry, can you help me out?
So it could either be khalaqa yakhluqu, or it could be yakhlaqu, or it could be yakhliqu. So typically, those are the 3 choices that you have when you convert a past tense into a future tense. And in this case, you might guess that it is yakhluqu, because you might have heard that in the Quran. So if you look at, for example,
can we also use the Corpus Quran with that hint?
Sorry, with what hint?
You know, they have that little symbol U or something which tells you.
No, in the Corpus Quran, you don't have that. So
oh, that was in the dictionary.
That is only in the dictionary. Yeah. So if you look at khalaqa, and let's see if we open up the word khalaqa here. So you can see that if you just focus in on the first part, which is the most common verb, form 1, and if I'll just try to make it a little bigger, we can see that the various ways in which it is being used are khalaqakum, created you, or khalaqa, created, he created, in other words, and here is the muzari form. So you can see yakhluqu, okay? Qala kazalika Allahu yakhluqu ma yasha'u. So, so here you can see that it is yakhluqu and not yakhliqu or yakhlaqu, okay? So, and you can see other forms as well of this. For example, akhluqu means inni akhluqu, which means I created or I will create, and khalaqahu, and so on. So let's get back to where we were. That was just a brief look at the verb khalaqa. Then it also occurs as a noun. So here, if I just make it a little bigger, this is occurring as khalaq, and as as a noun khalaq as well. And okay, just I'm sorry. And then khuluq is also a noun form, so we're not going into details of those. And then khalq is also a noun which is quite common, 52 times, 12 times as the active participle khaliq. So khaliq, as we can imagine, is basically one who creates. And twice in the passive participle mukhlaqat. So a passive participle is one who is being acted upon. It is also used in different ways. For example, here in Surah Al-Adiyat, it is being used in the following sense. Afla yanzuruna ila al-ibli kayfa khuliqat. So this, you might recall, is the majhul form. Majhul form, which is they are created, in which the active person or the one who's doing the work is not really being mentioned. So those are the different ways that the word khalaqa has been used in the Quran. Next, let's keep going. وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ. And again, wa is a conjunction. And if you recall, when we spoke about the different murakabat in the Quran, we had murakab atafi, which simply means conjunction. So here the wa is being used in that form. And again, murakab tawsifi was when it's being when the conjunction is with an adjective, and murakab izafi is when there is a possessive. So if we go back to where we were, وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ. So here this is a conjunction. And min is a preposition, haruf jar, as you might call it. And وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ, again, this is in majrur form. وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ. غَاسِقٍ is a mudaf ilay, which is why it is in majrur form. وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ, and from the darkness, and from the evil of darkness. And so again, you can see that this is of possessive form. So evil of darkness. وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ. Waqaba is a verb. And if we look at the details of some of these words, ghasaqa, the root letters ghain, sin, qaf, occurs 4 times in the Quran, and again is in 3 derived forms. Ghassaq, which is a noun, and once as also another noun, ghasaq, and once as the active participle, ghasiq. So again, active participle is one who does. So ghasiq is the one who, if we look at how it's being used over here, وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ. So here it's being used as an active participle. The next word is waqab. Waw, qaf, ba are the root letters, and it's only been used once in the Quran, and as a verb in form 1, and it simply means it spreads. So waqaba would mean he spreads. وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ. And finally, the next ayah, which is وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ. And again, this is in the form conjunction, and min is a is a preposition. وَمِن شَرِّ, which is from the previous sentences. وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ. and wa is again here used as a conjunction. Min is a preposition, sharri a noun, nafasat. So this is a new word over here and is a noun. And do you recall why, how can we identify whether a word is a noun or not?
It's a proper noun because of al.
Yes, so whenever you have the letters alif, lam, then clearly it is a noun. And the other sign is that if there's a tanween, which could either mean an an, or an in. If any one of these two scenarios are presented, it implies that the word is a noun. So min sharrin nafasati fil uqad, and from the evil of the blowers in the knots. So let's take a look at nafasat. So the root letters are nun, fa, and sin, se. And this occurs only once in the Quran. And this is the only occurrence from min sharrin nafasati fil uqad, and it simply means the blowers. And the word aqad has the root letters ayn, qaf, and dal. And here it's being used as a noun. It occurs 7 times in the Quran in 4 derived forms. So the first one is as a verb in form 1, aqadat. And the second is as form 2 verb. So you may recall the form 2 verb is of the form fa'ala. Fa'ala. So this is aqad, and qaf has tajdeed on it, and 4 times as a noun uqdat, and once as a noun uqud. So here it's being used as the noun, which means the knots. And finally, the last ayah of the surah, وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدٍ, and وَمِن شَرِّ, this is all what we've already seen. Hasidin is a noun. As you can see, it has a tanween, a kasra tanween, and that implies that it is a noun. Iza hasad, and hasada is a verb. As you can see, it's clearly not a noun. It doesn't have any signs of the noun. So if you look at the details of the word hasid, and actually both of these have the same root letters, ha, sin, and dal. And this occurs 5 times in the Quran in 3 derived forms. So the first form is a verb of form 1, which is the basic form hasada, which means he was jealous. And once as a noun hasad, and once as the active participle hasid, which means the one who is jealous or who conducts jealousy. So in this case, وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدٍ is occurring as an active participle, as the one who conducts jealousy. So that completes a brief look at Sura Al-Falaq. And the last ayah is once again translated as from the evil of the envier or the hasid when he conducts his envy. Okay, so let's stop over here in terms of the formal review. And now if there are any questions, we can have a discussion on that.
My question is there any algorithm or method to figure out it's Dhamma instead of
no, there is none. Actually, all the verbs occur, all the Salasi Mujarrid, as they're called, occur in one of 6 forms. These are the 6 forms of Salasi Mujarrid. So fataha yaftahu, daraba yadribu. So here there is a fatah over here. So these three are of the form fa'ala. And then after that, you could, in the mudari, you could either have a fatah, kasra, or a dhamma in the ayn letter. So it could either be yaftahu, yadribu, or yanzuru. In other words, yaf'alu, yaf'ilu, or yaf'ulu. And this is simply a property of the actual verb. And the only way you can know that is either if you are familiar with that word, or you're a native speaker, or if you just look it up in the dictionary. So there is no way, there is no formula for this. So just doing a quick recap of the surah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq. Say, I seek refuge in the Lord of the dawn. Min sharri ma khalaq. From the evil of what he created. Wa min sharri ghasiqin iza waqab. And from the evil of darkness when it spreads. وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ, and from the evil of the blowers in the knots. وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدَ, and from the evil of an envier when he envies. Sadaqallahu al-Azim.